अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तिनको स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमोता ही जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करी मंगल करी हो महा ग्रंथ करण को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज। Now, the Mangalacharan of the 4th chapter. इस भव के सब दुख निके कारण मिथ्या भाव तिनकी सत्ता नाश करी प्रगटे मोक्ष उपाव. So today we are going to start 4th chapter of Moksha Marg Prakashak Ji Granth, and in that 4th chapter the heading is exposition of false belief, false knowledge and false conduct. So in short, they are going to explain us the nature of false belief. When you are under the influence of false belief, what are the actions that you take, whatever your thoughts are, whatever kinds of speech you do under the influence of this false belief, that is delusion, that all they are going to discuss in detail. So when we are able to identify the false belief, then we will proceed to manifest the right belief. It's very psychological that unless and until we realize a problem, we don't go for the solution, right? So Todermalji is just making us realize where the problem is. In the earlier chapter also he gave an example of the Ayurvedic doctor Vaid, that first he makes you realize what you are suffering from, then he makes you realize that these are the symptoms and that matches with your body conditions, then you are confident that, oh, he is able to detect what I am going through, and then he gives us the solution. So this is in a way extension of that analysis, specifically with exposition of false belief, knowledge and conduct. Okay. So this is again a very good chapter, page number 105 to 132. You will be able to share the Himali? Oh, good. I'll make your post. Yes. So these expositions are very important. So we have to understand it very nicely. Then only the solution will come. Okay. So the Mangalacharan of this 4th chapter, there also they are saying that all the miseries of this universe, okay, and of this life, the only cause is the mithya bhav. Now, what do you mean by mithya bhav? So you would say wrong belief? No, it's not wrong belief only. It's wrong belief, wrong knowledge and wrong conduct. If I say mithyatva, then it is only belief. Now this is mithya bhav. So we have to include all the three. Okay. So the main cause of all miseries of this mundane existence are fallacious dispositions of belief, false belief, knowledge and conduct, all three together. Okay. So false belief regarding false belief, false knowledge and false conduct. By uprooting their existence, तिनकी सत्ता नाश करी. we have to eradicate it from the root. Okay, by uprooting their existence, pragate moksha upav, the right means of attaining liberation gets manifested. Now, what is the right means of getting liberation, Jia Doshi? What is the right means?
Ratnatraya, right?
Yes, very good.
The path of right belief.
Yes. So Ratnatra is 3 gems, 3 jewels: right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. Very good. So this is the explanation of the Mangala Charan that we have in the 4th chapter. Now the main chapter starts from here. The fundamental causes of all worldly miseries are perverse belief. Perverse belief means false belief, wrong belief, mithya darshan, then perverse knowledge, false knowledge, and perverse conduct, mithya charitra. Their characteristics are being elaborately described here, right? So why it is being elaborately described? So that you realize the problem and then you work on it. You know, the other day I gave you an example that there was an automatic factory and it suddenly stopped and the owner was incurring 10 lakhs rupees losses per day and nobody was able to repair it because it was fully automatic. No employees you require, you know, and then that owner was not able to find the right kind of mechanic, and somehow we got an information that particular mechanic is expert in this. So I went to him and asked to come. He said, no, first you deposit 10 lakhs rupees my fees, then only I can come. So he said, I will pay once you repair the machine, I will pay you. So no, first you pay, then only I can stand from here. So he was incurring loss every day. So he said, okay, he said no choice. So he paid 10 lakhs and that fellow came and he just took an hammer. He saw all the functions of the machines and he just put an hammer at one place and the machine started working. So the owner says that for just putting an hammer, you are charging 10 lakhs. This is not fair. Because I'm not charging 10 lakhs for putting a hammer. I am charging 10 lakhs where to put the hammer. And that is the expertise that I carry, you know. So here also Todarmalji says that if we are not able to know the cause of this false belief, false knowledge and false conduct, then the solution will not come. Okay. So it is very important to understand the characteristics of all these three so that we are able to apply the right means. That is very important. People are doing putting lots of efforts in different directions, but the core study, you know, this is the core study that we are doing. That score is something, it's alluded to most of the people, you know, they do vrat, they do puja, they do upvas and all other activities that are of course related to the path of liberation, but the core is this study, the study of the fundamentals, the study of, you know, nimittupadam, the study of substance attributes and modification, the study of sequence bound modification that is coming up in the next paper in this SEM only, a very good principle. And then there are other principles like how to practice discriminative knowledge, then 5 distinctive dispositions, then 4 non-existence, 4 types of non-existence. All these help us, you know, in eradicate the false belief. So this false belief, eradicating the false belief is again a process. It doesn't go away in one moment. Although whenever it will happen in one moment. But before that there is a process. And this is what Todamalji is trying to explain us elaborately, what are the nature of this perverse belief, perverse knowledge and perverse conduct. As a physician tells in detail the causes of the disease and the patient, just take it up. Himali? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Similarly, a detailed exposition of the cause of transmigration, mundane existence, is given here by knowing which, if the mundane being do not indulge in perverse belief, etc. etc. means perverse belief, perverse knowledge, and perverse conduct, then they would get free from mundane existence. Hence, a detailed exposition of the perverse belief, etc. So, one by one, they will be explaining the characteristics of all the three. Okay. Now, we start with the characteristics of perverse belief. So, who would like to answer this? What would be the one factor, that will help you in getting rid of this perverse belief? What principle? What knowledge you should acquire to get rid of perverse belief? Open to all. Nobody would try? Amitaji, you know.
હું આત્મા છું એ દ્રવ્ય અને દ્રવ્યની સ્વતંત્રતા એ જાણવું.
Okay, good. આત્મા છું તો જાણવું જ પડશે, right? But only આત્મા છું જાણવાથી નહીં થાય ને. You have to know the ajiv also. You have to know the asrabandh also. So these 7 are purposeful elements.
સાત તત્વ.
7 fundamentals.
Yes, 7 fundamental elements. These are the 7 fundamental elements that is, in any case you want to, you have to know to get rid of this perverse belief. So syllabus is very small. You just know the 7 fundamentals as they are, and your perverse belief will go away and right belief will manifest. So in the 7 fundamentals, of course, there is the soul, where you are going to take shelter in. Then there is non-soul element, which
So,
is
sir,
just
I want to. want to add one more point.
yes,
A clearer, a clearer
understanding.
fact regarding the भूल, सात तत्वों के भूल, उससे
Right,
और
right.
क्लियर हो जाएगा.
Right, right. So knowing
Seven
the
tattva
7
plus uske
fundamentals
bhool.
correctly, knowing the 7 fundamentals correctly includes that errors, unless and until you don't remove the error, you are not knowing the 7 fundamentals as they are. So
Yeah.
that is a part of knowing the 7 fundamentals. Those are the errors that you do while understanding the 7 fundamentals. So once you clear that error, then you are knowing the 7 fundamentals in the true sense.
Right. Right.
So when we talk
Yes,
of 7 fundamentals, after understanding the 7 fundamentals, the next step we go for is knowing what is worth renouncing, knowing what is worth adapting or taking shelter in, knowing what is manifesting, knowing worth what is only knowables. Hey gnei upade.
Upade.
Right? So can anyone explain what is Hey gnei upade regarding 7 fundamentals? I want absolutely correct statements. I've given you homework on this while we were in Sem4. Sem4. Sem1 also. Sem1 only we covered this. Hey gnei upade. After understanding the 7 fundamentals, to manifest the right belief, what would be the next step? So applying Hey gnei upade. Okay. Now, anyone want to try? Because as I said, understanding the 7 fundamentals is the chief cause of getting rid of delusion, perverse belief, wrong belief, false belief. So we must know it very nicely, yeah. And that's why I had given an assignment on that particular topic only, just to make you remember that, highlight that, And if you revisit your homework for the first sem and the second sem, I think you will be able to connect it to again, and that is your homework. You should do that. Okay. But again, here I am just not wasting more time. So I'm just saying, so in the first place, you have to know all the 7 fundamentals. Okay. So that is first category is knowables. They are all knowables. Gne. Okay.
Sir, I
Object,
can try.
object. Yeah.
I can try.
Yeah. Good. Very good.
Yeah, so all are worth knowing. Then
Mhm.
Ashraf is worth renouncing.
Okay.
Then Ashraf, Samvad is worth Samvad is worth knowing. And
So all the 7 you are,
yeah,
you said in the first place that all the 7 are worth knowing. So that part is over.
Nijara is
Now you start
Upaday.
with soul, pure soul, Jeev.
Soul is Upaday. What?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted the exact words. That's why I said I want exact words. So soul is Upaday, that is true. But it is worth taking shelter in.
Taking shelter in, sorry. Gne.
Okay.
I
And
don't
it is,
remember the Hindi words, that's why.
no problem. You say in English. I'm only talking in English now. Okay.
Okay.
So we
But
have to form this habit, to get it into English. So once we are through it, I think then it's not a problem. So the soul, pure soul, Jeev is worth taking shelter in. So it is worth adapting, but worth taking shelter in. Okay. Then Ajeev is only worth knowing. Okay, it is not not Upade, not worth renouncing, not worth adapting. Okay, so when you see something as just worth knowing, that means you are not manifesting attachment, nor you are manifesting aversion. And when you don't manifest attachment and aversion, what you manifest? Detachment, passionlessness. Okay, so knowing Ajeev, knowing non-soul element as it is also leads us to detachment. Now Asrav and Bandh, influx and bondage, they are both worth renouncing because they are cause of misery and cause of bondage of misery in the future. Okay, दुख रूप है और दुख का कारण है. Now we come to Samvar, Nirjara and Moksha. So Samvar and Nirjara, stoppage and dissociation are worth manifesting. Pragat karne yogya upade. Okay. So soul was worth taking shelter in, and this is worth manifesting. Pragat karne yogya upade. And moksha. So this Samvar and Nirjara was partially. We have to use the word partially. I also missed out that word. So stoppage and dissociation are worth partially manifesting, and liberation is worth fully manifesting, completely manifesting. Okay, so this is the correct understanding of the 7 fundamentals. These 7 are purposeful elements, and if you don't have the knowledge of engineering, CA, MBA, it will do. But knowing these 7 fundamentals is mandatory to manifest right belief. Okay, so you may be knowing you may not be knowing many other things in this universe, but knowing the 7 fundamentals is mandatory, and these 7 are only purposeful element. There is not an 8th one, and even if you don't know one of these 7, still you will not manifest right belief. So we have to know all the 7. If you are having error in one of the fundamental elements, that means you are having error in all the 7, because all 7 are interconnected. Yeah, so that we will see. Okay, so we begin this discussion on the characteristics of perverse belief. Okay, so I have already established a base that knowing the 7 fundamentals is the only way to get rid of this perverse belief, delusion and false belief. Okay, so let's start reading the characteristics of perverse belief. Gia, you only try.
Yes, sir. The characteristics of perverse belief. This jeev is having bondage of karmic matter from time immemorial. The belief in tattvas, reality caused in him owing to the rise of darshan more, fate deluding karma, is termed as mithya darshan, wrong belief. For the quality of thatness is the reality, tattva, that is the intrinsic characteristics of the substance which is worth ascertaining is termed as tattva, the reality. That which is not a tattva is a tattva, non-reality. Therefore, that which is a tattva, non-reality is false. So the name of this falsity is perversity, mithya. And this is thus only having such ascertainment is called Shraddha, belief.
Stop. So you see, the language is a bit difficult to understand, but I will make it clear. The Jeev is having a bondage of karmic matter from times immemorial, no beginning. Okay. Soul is there since time immemorial, and the karmas are also there along with the soul from time immemorial. Okay. There is no starting point. The misbelief in tattvas, 7 fundamental elements, okay, caused in him owing to the rise of darshan moh. So here Totalmalji is establishing the connection of the karma, why your perverse belief is there since time immemorial, because of this karmic. And which karma particularly is responsible for this? Darshan moh, faith deluding karma. So deluding karma has two divisions. One is faith deluding karma and other is conduct deluding karma. Darshan and charsamonia. So with darshan the false belief remains, and with charitramonia the passions arise. Okay. So both have different functions. Okay. So here we would consider darshan moh, faith deluding karma, is termed as mithya darshan, wrong belief, perverse belief. For the quality of thatness is the reality. So here quality means bhav. Okay. So any fundamental elements has got its essence. To know that essence is called tattva. Okay. Now asrav bandh. So asrav bandh is a fundamental element, but knowing asrav bandh means it is a cause of misery, so we should renounce it. So that is called tattva. So in tattva, we are not knowing the fundamentals only, but we are also coming to a conclusion, whether it is worth adapting, worth renouncing, or just worth knowing. Okay. So this is bit deeper. Okay. For the quality of thatness. Now the quality means disposition. Uska jo bhav is the reality. Okay. Jo tattva, uska jo bhav. Bhav means the essence. Okay. That is the intrinsic characteristics. Now they are giving the meaning. The intrinsic characteristics of the substance which is worth ascertaining, believing, is termed as tattva. So when we say tattva, the reality, it means the conclusion about it is also included in it. Okay. So that is the intrinsic characteristics of the substance which is worth ascertaining, believing. Okay. So unless and until you know it, you can't have belief in it. Okay. So knowing is also included in that. That is which is not a tattva. Okay. Is a tattva, non-reality. Therefore, that which is a tattva is false. So the name of this falsity is perversity, mithya. And this is thus only. Now you have come to a right conclusion. You are understanding it rightly. This is thus only. It is like this only. It is like this only. So now you have come to a conclusion. Now you know Jeev as a Jeev, non-soul as a non-soul, influx and bondage as influx and bondage. You are not doing any errors. Okay. And this is thus only. So the way it is, you are also understanding in the same way. That's where your knowledge becomes correct. This is thus only. Having such ascertainment is called belief. Okay. So everything happens in the knowledge. But after knowing, the next step is you have to have belief in it. Right. This is like this. You have to have a belief in it. Only knowing will not help us. Having known it, now we have to come to a conclusion. Believe. that this is like this. So belief is very important, Shraddha is very important, and that is what the rise of darshan monia karma allows you, doesn't allow you to have the right belief. Your belief is always perverse, The 5 sensual pleasures, they are not the cause of happiness, but because of delusion, because of false belief, you understand, uh, you have this belief that those are the cause of happiness. Okay, why? Because of false belief. And this false belief is there since time immemorial. So wherever you look around, you will find everyone to be indulging in these sensual pleasures with a purpose that I will be happy with this. Why people are putting in 16 hours a day for the job? Why? Why? Because they want to progress. Why they want to progress? Because they want to have a big pay packet, salary. Why they want to have big salaries? So they could enjoy the sensual pleasures. Okay. So your pursuit of getting more money is just because you believe that there is happiness in the sensual pleasures, and as you have more money you will have more uh, more objects of sensual pleasures, and that is what driving you, not driving you but the whole world into that rat race of getting money at all cost. The 2 days ago there was a report in the newspaper that 45 crore people are indulging in online gamings, that money gaming, Dream 11 and that 11. And out of that 45,000 crore people, they have lost 20,000 crores rupees. 20,000 crore rupees. And many of them have committed suicide. Many have indulged in fraud, theft, just to pay off those debts, liabilities, They lost heavily on this. Now, just imagine that so much of perverse belief is pervading all around. And we are very few people, if you count how many people are getting into this kind of studies, it will be always very less. Always, not even a 0.0001% also. So you see that perverse belief is all around us. So this is something that we have to understand very deeply to get rid of it, because that is the norm. Everyone is doing that, So it seems you to be normal. But no, the scripture states us that no, this is not normal. This is abnormal. So then you will ask the next question. So all these people around the world, they are abnormal? Yeah, they are abnormal. Only those people who are getting into this kind of studies where you are getting rid of the delusion, they are the only one who are rational. Okay. Rest all are insane, mad, under the influence of what? Delusion, false belief, perverse belief. So perverse belief is one of the major problem of this universe. Okay. So if you want to do a PhD, Jia, you could do this on this perverse belief, So you will understand perverse belief is so nicely that you will get rid of your perverse belief in the first place. Okay. But even if you are not doing PhD, you have to be a student of Moksha Marg Prakashak, Todarmalji. And he explains us very nicely, he has taken up subtle questions, and explained it very nicely. So we have to just connect to this Moksha Marg Prakashak Ji Granth, and you will understand the 7 fundamentals very nicely. So we discussed the 7 fundamentals in the Vitrag Vigyan 1, then also in Vitrag Vigyan 2 regarding errors, then also in Tattva Gyan 1 regarding the errors, again 7 fundamentals. Then we had learned about 7 fundamentals in Dravya Sangra. Then we have learned about this in Chedala. Chedala also there was this errors of 7 fundamentals. Now here in the 4th chapter we are again learning the errors on the 7 fundamentals. Then again it is going to come up in the 7th chapter. Again errors coming up. And then in the 9th chapter the whole whatever description is there about the 7 fundamentals in the 9th chapter, that is also very, very elaborate. Okay. So you can say that throughout our study of this Paramagam honors course for 5 years, you will be touching this topic of 7 fundamentals time and again. Okay. So you understand it once and for all very nicely. You revisit your homework for the Vitrag Vigyan 1. I think it was 7 fundamentals only. Okay. Just anybody who is just revisiting that particular topic, just inform the class where it is, whether it is in um, Gandhar Mulyankan or is in CC1 or in Viva. I think it will be CC1 only. Just check it out.
CC1.
Yeah, CC1. Okay. So again, revisit that. You must have worked there also. And once you do something, you remember it for few days. But if you repeat it again within 21 days, then it remains in your memory for a longer period of time. And the third time, if you again touch that topic within 6 months, you will remember it permanently, So we have to revisit these topics again and again. So that's why it is covered elaborately in throughout the Paramagam honors course. So 9th chapter we will be reading in the, I think, 9th sem, not 9th sem, but the 8th, no, 9th sem. 7th chapter will be in the 8th sem, and in the 9th sem, 9th chapter will be there. So still 8th and 9th sem, you will still reading these 7 fundamentals. Okay. So it's a very important topic. So you take deep interest in understanding this, and this is only the cause to manifest right belief. And so long you are not manifesting right belief, but at least every moment that you touch this topic or any Jinwani, it all leads to eradicating the false belief. So it's like a big rope, you are cutting it. Gradually it's getting cut, and the last string is still remaining, it's still false belief. And the moment that string gets cut, you manifest right belief. Okay. Now this karmas, darshan, monia, karma is a matter substance. So can we do anything in the matter substance? No. So that particular is a technical thing. Okay. So right belief according to Karnan Yoga is something that we cannot do any efforts in that. But from Dravyan Yoga, you understand the 7 fundamentals, you practice discriminative knowledge, and you are home. From Charnan Yoga, you can also practice, from Charnan Yoga also you can see the characteristics of the right belief. There are 8 characteristics of right belief. Where did you study that, Himali? 8 characteristics of right belief. छह डाला. Shanka, Kanksha,
Gupti.
No, 8 belief.
Not that.
No. Nishankit, Nikankshit, Nirvichikitsa, disgust, Then Amod Drashti, then Upguhan, Sthitikaran, Vatsalya, Prabhavna. So these are the 8 characteristics of right belief that you studied in Chhay Dala. You can revisit that again. So this is from Charnan Yoga. Okay. So this will automatically be there in your life as you move towards right belief. This exists even before getting the right belief to some degree. Okay. And when you get the right belief, it is authenticated, you can say, right? So from Charnan Yoga and Dravyan Yoga, the efforts is possible. But from Karnan Yoga, which is again related to the karma theory, darshan, monia, karma, which is a matter substance. So a soul cannot do anything in the matter substance. Very simple. So that kind of efforts is not going to happen, because Karnan Yoga is something that only omniscience knows. It is so subtle. These karmas are so subtle that we cannot see. Okay. But the omniscient cannot see it. Okay. So efforts from Karnan Yoga is not possible. Okay. But efforts from Dravyan Yoga and Charnan Yoga is very well possible, and that also from Prathman Yoga. So when you apply 4 expositions on right belief, I'm going to conduct a workshop very soon on this 4 exposition on right belief. Samyak darshan par charo anuyog. Okay. And from each exposition, I will make you understand that where your effort should be, because there is something called darshan monia karma and it is a matter substance. So there could not be any effort possible in that direction. So what you have in your hand is just the decision making power. Okay. So decision making power about the 7 fundamentals, understanding the 7 fundamentals is primarily the efforts that you do from Dravyan Yoga and from Charnan Yoga, the 8 characteristics of right belief that I just discussed now, that you read in Chedala, and then there were additional 4 characteristics. Anyone remembers? In that Chedala, 8 characteristics were mentioned and there were additional 4. Samveg, Anukampa, Astika and Prasham. Okay. So these 4 also you add, 8 plus 4, 12. So these are something where we would consider from Charnan Yoga. Okay. So you have to again this like the first 3 years are gem. You have to repeat this topic again and again, and in first 3 years your entire understanding gets completed. Then 4th and 5th year we are just applying it in the according to the scriptures, So so these fundamentals are very important. You have to learn it, repeat it again and again. You can catch up on recording. You can read your own. And if you have any questions coming up in your mind, you can ask me one to one. Okay. So that will be faster because recordings are very big and it takes so much of time and we don't have that much time. So you directly read the chapters and wherever you are struck up or you find that this is not clear, you can call me. You can note down the questions. We can discuss at length, one to one, anytime. You are most welcome. So, like they sell you a product and with that product, it comes a warranty, that if anything happens in 1 year, 2 years time, we will replace you free or we will repair it, something like that. So here also that warranty applies, that even if you read any time again and again, if you are finding any questions, there will be no charges, you will be able to understand it without any cost. So you have to just put in efforts and you are only going to reap the benefits of it. Now this Chedala you have already read and you have already given the exams, but still we don't remember everything in our memory. Our hard disk is chalked up with all the worldly related things, our profession, our job, our family, our these and that and that and that, all the responsibilities that we have as a human being. So because of delusion, these things gets fade away, we don't remember it. Although we know this is very important, but still it's hard to recall again. So you have to read it again and again to make it a part of your memory. Okay, so we come back to this explanation and the next paragraph. Here, Shraddha belief is to be taken as darshan faith. Okay, so Hemali, you read now.
Here, Shraddha, that is belief, is to be taken as darshan, faith. Although the literal meaning of the word darshan is general, which is undifferentiated perception, yet, with reference to the context here, the meaning of this verb should be known as to believe. Similarly, interpretation is given in Tattvat Sutra commentary, Sarvatha Siddhi, because general perception is neither the cause of transmigratory existence nor of liberation. Rather, the belief alone is the cause of transmigration or liberation. Hence, in the context of the cause of transmigration and liberation, the meaning of darshan should be known as belief only. Thus, the wrong form of perception, that is belief, is to be understood as mithya darshan, wrong belief, believing contrary to the nature of the substance and not believing as it really is. Such fallacious determination, that is misconception, is mithya darshan, perverse belief.
Stop. So you see the word darshan in Hindi has got three meanings. Darshan means dekhna, darshan means samanya avlokan, general perception, and darshan means belief. Now, what is the meaning of this word darshan? That is very important. So we cannot apply one meaning everywhere, depending on the context, you have to apply the meaning. So here, darshan does not mean perception. Okay, darshan उपयोग नहीं है. Darshan means here samyak darshan, right belief. Darshan here means faith. Okay, so now if you get the wrong meaning of the word, then the whole you deviate from the path, you go in the wrong direction. So at every stage we have to be very alert in what we are putting as meanings. Okay, so darshan shabd has got here the meaning of belief only. Okay, so the wrong form of perception, no, not perception, it will be again belief. Wrong form of belief, that is belief, is to be understood as mithya darshan, wrong belief. Okay, so what is this mithya darshan? Believing contrary to the nature of the substance. Okay, the nature of the substance is to be independent, and this fellow believes is to be dependent. My health is dependent on the medicines. Now here it says no, it's a wrong belief, because medicine is another substance and your body is another substance and the soul is again another substance. So the soul has no connection with the body or the medicines. The body has got no connection with the medicines. Okay, but I believe that when I take medicine I get better, and this has been my belief from my childhood. So how to irrigate that belief? So you have to work on it. Let's see, many people every day dies in the hospital. Even they have got the best of doctors, the best of infrastructure, the ICU, the ventilator and what not. Science has discovered so many things, but still they die. Why? And that goes on to prove that medicine is not the solution. There is something else. And what is that, Jia? Quick. What is that? Why people are dying in the hospital in spite of having the best of doctors and infrastructures? What is the determining factor? Anyone else?
So
Previous
ayu
karma.
Karma.
Ayu
Karma.
karma.
So ayu karma
Yeah.
is one factor, and getting good or remaining ill is again dependent
Vednya.
on the Vedniya karma.
Vedniya
Very
karma.
good. Sata Vedniya and Asata
Asata.
Vedniya. So this belief that medicine will cure me is again a fallacy, right? So we should not take medicines? No, it's not that. Because at our level, we will take medicines. But if there is a monk, he will never take medicine. He will never ask for medicine. But the Shravak, knowing that the monk is having this kind of disease, they put that medicines, all those Ayurvedic medicines, homemade medicines in the food, and they give it to him. That is only the time that they accept anything, their means when their time is of their hour, and those Shravaks are so intelligent, they realize that monk is having so much of heat in his body, so he will give food according to his health, and in that food he will put up those medicines, and that's how the monks would take medicines, but they will never ask it separately. Okay, so there is nothing wrong in doing the remedial measures. Okay, don't take it wrong, but the thing is that you will get only better when there is a Sata Vedniya karma, rise of Sata Vedniya karma, and you will only get ill when there is a Asata Vedniya. So this is something from karma theory that we are understanding. So believing contrary to the nature of substance and not believing as it really is. Now in this one line, the whole problem is explained. Believing contrary to the nature of the substance and not believing as it really is such fallacious determination, misconception. This is perverse belief. Okay. So you have understood what is perverse belief, I suppose. Now we will understand what is required to get rid of this perverse belief. So just now we discussed it elaborately, the 7 fundamentals. Okay. And that is what is being explained here as a purposeful elements. Okay. So the next 2 questions we will read now and hope you understand it. Rekha, you read.
Yes, sir. Without omniscience, perfect knowledge, all the substances are not comprehended rightly. And without having right comprehension, the right belief does not evolve. How could then the wrong belief be abandoned? Answer. Knowing, not knowing, or wrong knowing of the substances depends on the Kshayaksham or Uday of Jnana Varnya Karma and the ascertainment. Belief evolves only on knowing. How could ascertainment take place without knowing? This is true. But as some person knows incorrectly or correctly those objects with which he has got nothing to do and believes them exactly as he knows them, even due to that, there is no harm or benefit to him. Because of this, he does not get the name of an insane or an ingenious person. And if he knows incorrectly the objects with which he is concerned and believes them accordingly, then he gets harmed. So he is called an insane person, and if he knows those objects correctly and believes according to them, he is benefited. So he is called a wise person. Similarly, if the Jeev knows incorrectly or correctly those things with which he is not concerned and believes them accordingly, then there is no harm or gain to him. Because of this, he does not get the title of misbeliever or true believer. But if he knows incorrectly the substances or elements with which he is concerned and believes them accordingly, then he is harmed. Therefore, he is called misbeliever. And if he knows them correctly and believes them accordingly, then he is benefited. Therefore, he is called true believer. Here it should be known that in that here it should be known that in not knowing or knowing correctly incorrectly the non-concerned or concerned substances, there happens the decrease or increase of one's knowledge. So this much is the loss or gain of the jiva, and its instrumental cause is the Jnanavarnya karma. But due to holding false or right belief about the concerned essential substances, there happens some more harm or benefit to this jiva. So its instrumental cause is darshan moha karma.
Stop. So let's understand this question. So there was word of Shayapsham of Jnana Varan Karma. Second line. Okay. Knowing, not knowing, or wrong knowing of the substance depends on the Shayapsham. So knowing, that means to that extent, the Jnana Varana Karma, rise of Jnana Varana Karma is not there, you are knowing. Okay. To the extent the rise of Jnana Varana Karma is there, you are not knowing. And then wrong knowing. 3 things. Knowing, not knowing, or wrong knowing of the substance depend on the Sayapsham or Uday. Okay. Now this Sai Upsham, 2 words are included in Sayapsham of Jnana Varana Karma. Okay. What does it mean? In Gujarati, one word is used called Ugad. Ugad. Ugad means opening. Okay. So, to the extent your knowledge attributes, you are able to know, that is called Ugad. So, Sayapsham means Ugad. Sayapsham means the part through which you are knowing now. That is your Sayapsham. Okay. So every living being has some opening of its knowledge attribute, and that opening part is called Sayapsham. Simple words. But in Karnan Yoga, Shai, Upsham and Uday, these three things coming together forms the word Shayopsham. Okay. Shayopsham of Jnana Varna Karma. So there are three parts into it. One is that some part of the karma is destroyed, Shai. Okay. Some part is subsided, Upsham. It is not destroyed completely, but it is just that it has been suppressed now. Okay. So one is Shai, destroyed. Second part is suppressed, Upsham. And the third part is Uday. There is also a rise. So all three conditions put together is called Shayapsham from Karnan Yoga. Okay. But in simple terms, it is just the part that is open through which you are knowing. That is called Shayapsham. Okay. So knowing, not knowing or wrong knowing of the substance depends on the Shayapsham of Jnana Varna Karma. And the ascertainment, belief evolves only on knowing. So if you are knowing wrongly, your belief is also wrong. You know. So that way the knowledge attribute is important, and everything happens in the knowledge attribute only. Modification of knowledge attributes only, we are knowing everything. But then the belief puts a stamp on it. This is it. So when we consider of knowing things, knowledge will come first and then the belief will come first. Because unless and until you know something, how you are going to arrive at a decision? Belief, right? But when we talk of the path of liberation, so path of liberation begins with right belief, and then the knowledge turns right. Right? Although one moment ago you are still in wrong belief, but your knowledge is absolutely correct. Right? So I'll give you an example that India got independence in 1947. Right? But the Quit India movement and the other measures that started, that was long ago. Quit India movement was in 1942, and previous to that there were Dandi March and many other. um, I think in 1857 something happened. Quit India movement was when?
So 1857 was the Great Mutiny.
Great Mutiny. So from there the things cropped up, and then something happened. So to get independent, we started working while we were under their rule. We were slaves to them. Okay. So in slavery only, we started this movement of getting independent. Similarly, in the wrong knowledge only, you start understanding it correctly through these scriptures. Okay. So your knowledge is still false knowledge. Okay. And the moment you transform the right belief, the knowledge becomes right knowledge. So knowledge in itself is not right or wrong, but it depends on the belief. So belief is wrong, we term it as wrong knowledge, although you know everything very correctly, because the next moment you are going to manifest right belief. Right? So just because right belief and wrong belief is again dependent on that darshan monia karma, and so the right belief does not manifest before getting rid of the delusion. Okay. So that string is still left. So it is still wrong belief. Okay. But the moment that string also gets detached, you get the right belief. But your understanding that you have come up so far is all correct. Okay. But it will not be termed correct because of wrong belief. Okay. So there is something else also in not knowing correctly, and that is called the belief. Okay. So uh, how could assignment takes place without knowing? So first we have to know, and then the belief will follow. Okay. So this is done. But as some person knows incorrectly or correctly those objects with which he has got nothing to do, and believes them exactly as he knows them, even to do that there is no harm or benefit to him. If it is not purposeful for you, doesn't matter whether you know it correctly or incorrectly. How much is the Meru Parvat? I don't know. But it will not be affecting my happiness, right? Right. But if I don't know the fundamental elements, then I will not be able to manifest happiness, true happiness. Okay. So knowing the purposeful elements is important, but in regarding unpurposeful elements, even if you understand it wrongly, it doesn't matter because those are not concerned fundamental elements. Okay. Because of this, it does not get the name of an insane or an ingenious person. Ingenious matlab true, wise person. Okay. So you are an insane person or wise person does not depend on whether you know unpurposeful elements correctly or incorrectly. Doesn't matter. Okay. Even if you know wrong, it doesn't matter. You are still a wise person. But the purposeful elements, the 7 purposeful elements, essential elements, if you know it wrongly, then you are an insane person. And if you know it correctly, then you are a wise person. Okay. So all our worldly knowledge will not come into handy when we understand these 7 fundamentals. If you want to manifest right belief, you have to understand the 7 fundamentals correctly. Although you may be a doctor, very big doctor, but when it comes to the path of liberation, you have to again understand the 7 fundamentals. So that's why in Pratman Yoga you will see many stories that those illiterate people, they manifested right belief. Even they didn't go to school, still they manifested right belief because this is something purposeful elements. Okay. So you may not know the chemistry of Rasgulla, but a child may not know the chemistry of Rasgulla, how it is made. But if he tests it, he knows the test, right? So it is like this. So you may not be knowing the karma theory. Okay, no problem. But you have to know the 7 fundamentals very correctly. So understanding the concerned elements is only what matters, and that only defines whether you are a true believer or a false believer. The next paragraph. Here it should be known that in not knowing or knowing correctly, incorrectly, the non-concern or concerned substances, there happens the decrease or increase of one's knowledge. So this much is the loss or gain of the jiva, and its instrumental cause is the jnana varana karma. Okay. Less knowing, more knowing, it's all depends on jnana varana karma. But due to holding false or right belief about the concerned essential purposeful substances, there happens some more harm or benefit to this jiva. So its instrumental cause is darshan monia karma. Okay. So knowledge is good. Okay. But above knowledge is the belief system. Okay. So this is what Todarmalji tried to explain, that there is something else. You may have correct knowledge about engineering, AI, you may be a Nobel Prize winner in science, medicines, but if you don't know the fundamentals, you will not be able to overcome your miseries. Okay. And the person who knows the 7 fundamentals correctly, even if he is illiterate, he will still manifest happiness. Okay. So as far as the path of liberation is concerned, you have to know the fundamentals, 7 fundamentals very correctly. Okay. Second question. Since belief is according, so Pratibhaji, you read.
Question. Since belief is according to the knowledge, hence belief appears to be related with jnana varna karma. How could the specific instrumentality of darshan moha karma be established here? Answer. All 5 sensed rational beings possess the shayapshom destruction cum subsidence of jnana varna karma, that is manifestation of knowledge, necessary for effectuating belief of the jiva, etc. Essential principle, purposeful tattvas, but the Dravyalingi movie, a passionless ascetic following complete conduct without right belief, studies even up to 11 angas out of the total 12 angas of the whole scripture, and the devas, gods of Gravyaka heavens, possess clairvoyance knowledge of the Gyan, etc., in spite of possessing such a high degree of Shayapsham of Gyanavarna karma, they do not possess the right belief of Jiva, etc. Essential principles, whereas the Tiryanch rational five-sensed animal, in spite of their having lesser degree Shayapshama of Gyanavarna karma, may be found possessed with right belief of Jiva, etc. Essential principles. It is therefore understood that the belief does not evolve according to the Shayapsham of Gyanavarna only. Some other instrumental karma is there, and that is Darshanmo, the faith-deluding karma. Owing to its rise, the jiva is found with false belief. Then he perversely believes the jiva, etc., essential tattvas.
So jiva, etc. Jiva, etc. means all the seven fundamentals.
Okay.
Everywhere it is written jiva, etc. That means soul, non-soul, influx, bondage, stoppage, dissociation, liberation. Okay, you have to connect seven fundamentals everywhere. Okay, because they are not going to write seven fundamentals everywhere. So they will write jivas, etc. The essential principles. So essential principles, essential elements means the seven fundamental elements. Okay. So one condition is that all five sense rational beings, okay, only rational beings can have manifest right belief. Okay, you have to have your mind, because with mind you are able to take the decision about whether it is worth renouncing or worth adapting. Okay, so mind should be there to manifest right belief. So all five sense rational being possesses the shabsham, the opening of the knowledge, okay, of jnana varna karma, manifestation of knowledge necessary for effectuating belief of the jivas, etc., the essential principle, fundamental principles, fundamental elements. Okay, so for effecting the right belief, you need to have this knowledge of that sharpsham. Okay, sharpsham means that much knowledge you should possess.
But
But
can I interrupt?
yeah.
So it is practicality, isn't it?
Yeah, knowing
Along
as
with
knowing as they are. Right?
knowing as they are, and in daily life applying it, isn't it that?
Yeah, of course, when you know it correctly, you automatically apply, If there is a problem and you know that medicine, you will always apply, right? But if you don't know about the medicines, then you have to go to a doctor.
So
Right.
every step we take, whether we have to understand now that we
Yes.
are studying.
Yes, you have to understand. You have to understand, you have to contemplate, you have to arrive at a decision. Okay, that much is your effort. Okay, so but the Dravyalingi Muni, now who is a Dravyalingi Muni? A monk who is absolutely correctly following the 28 Mool Gunas, the 28 main attributes of a monk. There is not a single mistake in that. But still he is not having the right belief. Although he is naked, he is without possession, he is observing the 28 major vows, but still the right belief is not there. So that is called Dravyalingi Muni. From outer appearance, he is a true monk, but internally, the belief system has not changed. And this kind of monks goes up to 9th Gravak. Uh, it's a layer of celestial being, and they could go up to that level also. But since they have got wrong belief, they have not manifested iota of happiness. Okay, not a single point of happiness. So this is a very challenging thing that is coming up, and that we will understand very nicely. Before that, I will take up Himali's question. Yeah.
So I didn't understand this question only.
Sir, even
So,
I wanted a practical example actually. What it could be, even I could
So
not
the
follow.
question is, what is the difference between the knowledge and the belief attribute? Okay. Primarily the question is like that. Since belief is according to the knowledge, hence belief appears to be related with jnana varna karma. Right. How could the specific instrumentality of darshan moh karma be established here? So the question is that knowledge and belief attributes are two different attributes. Both are independent of each other, and the belief precedes the knowledge. Okay, not no, knowledge precedes the belief. Okay, so unless and until you know something, the belief doesn't happen, right? So you say no, that darshan monia is responsible for not knowing or knowing correctly, right? Why you have mentioned that according to the jnana varan, you know the knowledge. Okay, that is the question. So the Todramalji here asking this question want to highlight that knowing, not knowing means how much knowledge you have doesn't matter. But the belief, if the belief is correct about the 7 fundamentals, you are still a right knowledge, right? So the example of Dravyalingi Muni. So he is doing all the things right. He has got knowledge of 11 ang. You know, 11 ang. So out of total angas, okay, this is the amount of knowledge. Total knowledge is 12 angas. Out of the 12 part, he is not having knowledge of the 11th part. And since he is already have this 11 angas in his memory, so how he could not know the 7 fundamentals? That is the surprising part of this. A person who is having so much of knowledge of Jainism, he will not have knowledge of 7 fundamentals. Yeah, it's still there. And that's what
But sir,
differentiate between the belief and the knowledge. So you must have enormous knowledge. But the 7 fundamentals, if you are faltering, your all knowledge is false knowledge.
sir, एक बात है, without मतलब practically seeing that person who's going to become a monk, generally they don't take them into monkhood. तो फिर ये
Yeah,
कैसे होता है?
but nobody tests your belief system, no? It's a very
सर, ये
hard.
तो बहुत बड़ी बात है कि without understanding that person, how can they give him monkhood?
So that is what happening. So we have so many monks around here, and they are into wrong kind of things, you know. So that is why Todramalji took this example of Dravyangli Muni, because externally all the conducts are perfect. Even you cannot, even a Kevli Bhagwan cannot find any flaws in his external conduct. That is called Dravyalingi Muni. All the 28 major woes they are observing perfectly, not a single mistake. And still they are under the influence of wrong belief. Now this is called Dravyalingi Muni. A possessionless ascetic, no possessions, okay? That means he is naked. Following complete conduct, following complete conduct correctly, all the 28 major woes without right belief. Now, so we have got an example where you are doing everything perfect in terms of conduct, but still the belief has not changed. Okay.
तो
So,
ऐसा हो सकता है क्या सर?
they want to shift the emphasis from knowledge to belief. You may have many knowledge, large amount of knowledge, but if you don't have the right belief, your all knowledge is considered as wrong knowledge. Okay. So this is what they want to highlight, that knowledge and belief, these are two different attributes, Gyan and Shraddha. Okay. Shraddha is belief and Gyan is knowledge. Okay. So these are two different attributes, and in spite of having a great knowledge of 11 angas, still you could be a wrong believer if you don't know the purposeful elements correctly. Okay. Right belief of Jiva, etc. That means 7 fundamental elements. Okay, so that is what being extended. You may have a high degree of knowledge, but if you do not possess the right belief of 7 fundamentals, you are still a wrong believer. So when we talk of right belief, you have to get rid of darshan monia first. Okay, little bit of knowledge will be okay, but darshan more should go to manifest right belief, because right belief is already understanding the 7 fundamentals correctly. That much is the syllabus of right belief. Okay, so owing to the rise of darshan monia karma, the jeev is found with false belief. Then he perversely believes the 7 fundamentals, that is essential tarvas. Now, what is this 7 fundamentals that is coming up the next topic? Purposeful and purposeless substance principles. Okay, so here again they will elaborate on that even if you know many other things very correctly, but if you don't know the 7 fundamentals, you are still a wrong believer. So they want to highlight that to manifest right belief, you just know the 7 fundamentals correctly. You don't spend so much of time in knowing Karna Yoga and these and that and that and that. Just know the 7 fundamentals, which is of course a part of Dravya Yoga, and you manifest right belief. You manifest true happiness. You are into the journey of path of liberation. You have started this journey by just knowing the 7 fundamentals. Okay. So I think we should spend 6 months studying only 7 fundamentals. Right? So that should be our syllabus. But we are studying so many scriptures, but everywhere the 7 fundamentals will come again and again. Okay. So now this is something as a homework you have to do. Master the 7 fundamentals. Read it again and again and again. You have that in Vitrag Vigyan 1. You have that in Vitrag Vigyan 2 in terms of errors. Then you have this in Tattvagyan 1 in terms of errors of 7 fundamentals. Then you have this in Dravya Sangra. Then you have this in Chedala. Then you have this here in 4th chapter. Then you have this in 7th chapter. Then you have this in 9th chapter of Moksha Marg Prakashak. So the whole, everywhere the emphasis is on 7 fundamentals. Even Samaisar deals with 7 fundamentals. Tattvad Sutra, you will read 7 fundamentals. So I think the whole scriptures just are written to understand the 7 fundamentals. Okay, so this is such a important, because understanding the 7 fundamentals correctly leads to right belief. Okay, so you should know these purposeful elements very clearly. Okay, so who will read? Jia? You read. Purposeful and purposeless substances.
Purposeful and purposeless substances.
So substances here means elements, 7 fundamental elements. Okay.
Question: which are the purposeful and purposeless substances? Answer: this jeev has only one purpose, and it is that he should not be miserable but be happy. No jeev has any other purpose, and non-occurrence of sorrow and occurrence of happiness is one and the same thing, because the absence of misery is nothing but happiness, and the accomplishment of this purpose takes place by acquiring right belief of jeev, etc. tattvas, realities. How does it happen? Answer: first of all, for eradicating miseries, one must possess the discriminating knowledge of the self and the non self. If one does not have the discriminative knowledge of the self and non self, then how can he eradicate his misery without identifying the self? Or knowing the self and non self as to be the one thing, if for rooting out the sorrow of the self, one does not treat of the other one does the treatment of the other non self thing, how can then the sorrow of the self be rooted out? Or the non self thing are distinctly different from the self, but if one holds the feeling of I-ness and mine-ness in those non self things, then misery alone results. The misery gets eradicated only on attaining the discriminative knowledge of the self and non self. And the knowledge of the self and non self is attained only after having. Can you scroll down? And the knowledge of the self and non-self is attained only after having got the discriminative knowledge of jeev and ajeev substances, because the one himself is jeev and the body, etc., are ajiv. If through distinctive characteristics, etc., the Jeev are identified, then the separateness of self and non self may be comprehended. Hence, one ought to know Jeev, or on acquiring the knowledge of Jeev, the substances by contrary belief of which one used to suffer from misery, now by attaining the right knowledge of the same, misery gets eradicated. Hence, acquiring knowledge of Jeev is a must. Further, the cause of sorrow is bondage of karmic matter, and its causes are false belief, etc., influx instincts. If one does not identify these, does not know these as to be the root cause of sorrow, how can then he uproot them? And if one does not eradicate these instincts, how would not then the karmic bondage take place? Therefore, misery alone is caused. Or the false belief, etc., instincts, dispositions are misery incarnate. If those are not identified correctly as they really are, then one cannot eradicate them, and consequently, one would remain miserable only. Hence, one must know ashram influx. Further, the cause of all miseries is karmic bondage. If one does not know this, then one would not make effort to get rid of it. Then, due to its instrumentality, one would remain miserable. Therefore, one must know bondage. And uprooting of ashrav influx is samvar stoppage. If one does not know its samvar differentia, then one would not indulge in it. Then influx ashrav only would continue, due to which misery alone would be caused both in present and in future. Therefore, one must know somewhat stoppage. Further, somewhat partial eradication of karmic bondage is termed as nirjara, partial shedding off. If one does not know it, then he would not make efforts to follow it. Consequently, the karmic bondage would persist wholly, due to which misery alone would continue. Hence, one must know nirjara, and the absolute uprooting of all sorts of karmic bondage is termed as moksha, perfect liberation. If one does not identify it, he would not make effort for evolving it. Then he will continue suffering from the agonies in the world produced by karmic bondage. Hence, one must know moksha. Thus, one should know jeev, ajeev, etc. seven tattvas. Further, if someone may know the seven tattvas from scripture, but until those are exactly so only, such sort of a crystal clear conception is not evolved, what is then the advantage of such knowledge? Therefore, right belief of tattvas is fruitful. Thus, only on acquiring the true belief of Jeev, etc., tattvas, the purpose of eradicating misery is accomplished. Hence, one should know that the Jeev, etc., substances only are the purposeful substances. Further specific details of these tattvas are punya and pap. Their true belief also is fruitful because detailed exposition is more effective than general exposition. Thus, these substances are purposeful. Hence, on acquiring their right belief, misery ends and real happiness evolves, and without their right belief, misery continues and happiness does not evolve. And besides above stated padarths, substances, there are other innumerable substances. All those are unpurposeful because possessing or not possessing the right belief is in no way the cause of happiness or misery.
Stop. So you see, all the seven fundamentals have been explained. So why you should know the seven fundamentals? First of all, what are the purposeful elements? So these seven fundamental elements are the purposeful elements that you should know correctly. Then only you can manifest right belief. And why we are after this right belief? Because right belief is the cause of happiness or misery. Okay. So long you have wrong belief, you will suffer from misery. And the moment you manifest right belief, the happiness will start. Okay. So you would say that I have been enjoying happiness since my childhood. I have got many toys when I was a child. When I got elder, I got cycle. My parents took care of me so nicely. I had got all the good things in life. So I was always happy. What are you talking about of misery? I am never experiencing any sorrow, misery in my life. If this is your question, then under the influence of high level of delusion, it appears like that. But that is not true happiness. If you were happy, then why you left those toys and go for cycle? Then why you left that cycle and you are desiring for something else? So your desire keeps on changing. You have not been true, you have not experienced true happiness. All those sensual pleasures are not the true happiness. True happiness lies in the soul. So when you connect to the soul, then only you are manifesting true happiness. Okay. So although you may not feel misery at any point of time, because by the rise of punya karma, you have got all the good things in life. Okay. Good facilities, good house, good family, good objects of sensual pleasures, and in the worldly existence, people consider you to be very rich, this celebrity Shah Rukh Khan and these, they are all happy? No, they are not happy. They have, you go and talk to them, they have other problems. Ambani is not happy. Mukesh Ambani is not happy. Adani is not happy because they don't know the 7 fundamentals. Only those person who know the 7 fundamentals correctly, they are only true happy. Now, Madhuji, you will say that prove it. Right? So recently, there was this in the news, Cafe Coffee Day.
Yes, sir.
So the owner of that Cafe Coffee Day committed suicide.
Yes.
So he was having so much of crores of rupees, and why he committed suicide? Because those crores of rupees does not bring happiness. So for happiness, we have to believe in the omniscience who have written the scriptures, and in that tradition only this scripture has come to us. And it clearly says that you have to know the 7 fundamentals to manifest true happiness, not false happiness. All those sensual pleasures are false happiness. And we have been enjoying those, experiencing those since time immemorial. But we never become happy, true happiness. Okay? So 7 fundamentals is what you need to know. How the 7 fundamentals leads to happiness, that is being explained in the next question. How does it happen? Okay.
सर, तो ये जो है अपन है ना पढ़ तो रहे हैं, लेकिन जब तक प्रैक्टिकलिटी में नहीं आते हैं तो ये कभी नॉलेज बढ़ेगा भी नहीं, एंड इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल टू रिमेम्बर अनलेस वी डू इट इन एवरीडे लाइफ.
प्रैक्टिकलिटी में कैसे आएंगे ये बताइए.
सर, बाय watching every step what we are doing.
Yes. So now supposing you are suffering from some disease. Okay.
Yes.
तो अब आप प्रैक्टिकली क्या कर सकते हो, आप बताओ.
कर्मा तो है, ये तो मैं समझती
कर्म तो
हूँ.
जाने दो, कर्म
हाँ.
छूते नहीं, आत्मा को कर्म छूते नहीं है. The karma does not touch the soul. Karmas are different from the soul. The body is different from the soul. The disease has happened to the body. So why I should feel miserable? You can be happy. Yes.
हाँ, तो
If
यही
you
सोच रहे
practice
थे
the soul, if you practice discriminative knowledge that
Yeah.
soul and body are two different things, and
Exactly.
whatever has happened to
Yes.
the body, it's
Yeah.
part of the body and not part of the
Yeah.
soul. And I am being a soul, pure soul, I am different from all these things. I am not suffering. So you can be happy in that space. The monks, afflictions are inflicted on them, like
Yeah.
the 700 monks, Vishnu Kumar Muriraj, Akampanacharya, and 700 monks. They inflicted pain, they were being burnt, but still they were happy. How come they were happy? The 3 Pandavas, they were meditating, and one of their prince enemy, they jewels, hot jewels on them, and still they manifested omniscience knowledge and got liberated. How? Because they have connected to the soul, and they believe that soul is their only existence. The body is not their existence. Okay. So they've got rid of delusion. They have manifested right knowledge, right conduct, and with the power of those right conduct, they are able to concentrate in themselves. So the pains were inflicted on them, but since they were connected to the soul, they were extracting the happiness from the soul. They were busy in that, so they didn't get any impact of the outside body. So if this kind of practical you are able to do, forget about the monks. At our level also, even if you are able to divert your attention from the pain, you will feel still happy. Just you have to divert your attention. Okay. So this is what you need to do practically. So it is all individual responsibility to put it what you have read in practice. The scripture says that it works. The monks have done it. Okay. And even if you apply, you will also be able to be in happy space in spite of being in an ICU and under the influence of so many diseases. But as a soul, you are still able to manifest happiness. Forget about us. Even in the narky, the hellish beings, the right believer in hellish beings still are there. Srenik Raja is now in hell.
Yes.
Seventh hell. But he's still happy over there. How come? With that connection with the soul. Okay? With that connection with the soul, the flow of happiness is still there. And he's enjoying that happiness. And the other things that pains are being inflicted on him, he's not connecting to that. So he's not affected. Okay? अगर आप सोचेंगे कि मेरे को रोग हुआ है, मेरे को रोग हुआ है, मेरे को रोग हुआ है, then you will suffer. मेरे को रोग नहीं हुआ है, मैं तो 100% I am pure. The body is absolutely a different existence.
Yes.
It's a matter substance, and I am soul substance. My infinite attributes are there with me all the time, even in the face of adversities like afflictions, parisha, upsarg, cruel torture. So this kind of practice you have to do, practical experience, okay? So then you are good, okay? So here the 7 fundamentals are explained. Why you should know the soul? Because soul is suffering from misery and soul has to be happy. So you should know the pure soul first. Then why you should know non-soul? Because you have to discriminate between two. So one part is soul, the other part is non-soul. So non-soul also you must understand correctly. Otherwise, there will be error. You will consider body as the soul and soul as the body. So again, you will not have the correct knowledge of the 7 fundamentals. So soul should be known, non-soul should be known, and the path of happiness begins with stoppage and dissociation. So you should know the stoppage. So knowing the stoppage, you should know the influx, because when the influx stops, the stoppage elements arises. So you should know the influx and bondage element to manifest stoppage and dissociation. Okay. And liberation also you should know, because ultimately target is liberation. So if you don't know that getting rid of all the karmas is liberation, why you will indulge in getting rid of karmas? Okay. So all the 7 fundamentals you should know. Okay. And you should know the 7 fundamental correctly as they are. Exactly as they are. Okay. If there is a little bit of wrong understanding about the 7 fundamentals, the right belief will not manifest. Very clear. Okay.
Yeah.
And along with these 7 fundamentals, you can include the merits and demerits, punya and pap, because those are an extension of influx and bondage. Okay. So purposeful elements, when we consider only 7, because merits and demerits are included in influx and bondage. Okay. So you should know additional 2 elements, merits and demerits also. Okay. So this makes total 9 fundamentals. Okay. But in short, we call it 7 fundamentals and include merits and demerits under the influx and bondage. So these 7 fundamentals, if you know correctly, there are 7 accounts. Okay. So now in your day-to-day life, you are encountering 4 elements. Soul, that is your non-soul, that is body and all other related associations. Okay. And then you have karma, that is also non-soul elements. Then you have this impure manifestations, that is also a part of non-soul. Okay. We will all put it in the non-soul category. The bhav karma, the Dravya karma and the Now karma. Okay. Bhav karma is the sentient karma. Okay. The Dravya karma or the psychic karma. Bhav karma is also called psychic karma. Then we have Dravya karma, which is material karma, Jnana Varna. And then we have No karma, Vasi karma. Okay. The body and the related association. Okay. So all these forms a part of non-soul elements. And all the 5 other substances. Okay. Matter, medium of motion, medium of rest, space, and time. All these are non-soul elements. Okay. So we should know non-soul elements also. Then, as I said, we should know stoppage and uh, dissociation elements because that is the path of liberation. So you know all the 7 fundamentals now. Now practically you have 7 different accounts. And in your day-to-day life, you encounter 4 fundamentals. Soul, non-soul, influx, bondage. Unless and until you manifest right belief, the stoppage element is not there. Although you may have knowledge about the stoppage element, but the stoppage element only manifests when you take shelter of your soul, when you realize yourself, when you experience yourself. Okay. So in a day-to-day life, an ignorant being will have 4 fundamentals. So we start with journey from here because the ignorant being only wants to manifest right belief. A right believer doesn't want to manifest right belief because he's also a right believer. So the one who has a false belief, he knows only 4, he encounters only 4 elements in his day-to-day life. Soul, non-soul, influx, bondage. Now, after knowing what is worth knowing, what is worth renouncing, what is worth adapting, you have taken decision on all the 7 fundamental elements. Now, practically, when your active consciousness, the upyog, okay, when it gets to non-soul elements, then what it says that I am only a knowable. Okay. So once the active consciousness get into the non-soul elements, he knows as that this is only worth knowing. It is not worth renouncing also and not worth adapting also. So non-soul elements, the verdict is very clear. It is only worth knowing. So active consciousness will not indulge in non-soul elements. Then he will go to the influx and bondage element. So they have a board on their head that we are the cause of sorrow and bondage of sorrow. So the active consciousness will not indulge because he knows that if I get indulged in this influx and bondage element, I will get burned. So he will come back from there also. So what is left over? The pure soul. So he gets into the pure soul, and when he gets into the pure soul, it becomes one with the pure soul. Abed. Okay. And that is the time the self-realization happens. And that is the time the stoppage element evolves. And with stoppage element, the dissociation elements also evolves. And with stoppage and dissociation elements, if you keep on practicing this discriminative knowledge time and again, the purity that has started in the stoppage element, it keeps on increasing in the dissociation elements. And when the complete purity is manifested, that is called liberation. Okay. So this is how the practical thing will happen. So initially you will have 4 elements in your day-to-day life. So when you take shelter in your pure soul, the stoppage element and dissociation element will again evolve. Okay. And then with practice, the liberation will evolve. Okay. So 7 fundamentals is what you should know practically. You should practice this discriminative knowledge and you can get connected to your soul because your pure soul is available in every modification. In every modification of all the mundane beings, whether wise or ignorant, the pure soul is reflecting in every modification of the soul. In every modification of the soul, the pure soul is reflecting. You just have to identify. Okay? Identify and be one with it. and you manifest right belief. So simple. So it is not that you have to bring the you have to bring the pure soul in the manifestations. It is already there in every modification. Okay. You have to just identify by knowing its characteristics, by knowing its nature. If you apply in your present modification, you will be able to identify that pure soul element that is yourself. You know, such an anticlimax that we being a pure soul, we are not only identifying ourselves, but we are identifying everything else. Our active consciousness is getting engaged in all the non-purposeful things, but it is not getting engaged in the pure soul. Although pure soul is manifesting in every modification. It is there. हर पर्याय पर्याय में भगवान आत्मा दर्शन दे रहा है. आप उसको पहचानो और उसमें समा जाओ. You understand the pure soul and you get immersed in that. Everything will happen. From the right belief to the omniscient knowledge, everything will happen with this process only. Okay? So this
Yeah. So for this reason, sir, 1 week back, no, I took up my Vitrak Vigyan part 2 and read errors regarding the 7 fundamentals. So a lot has been cleared, and it is like only when we read it again and again, the concept becomes more clear.
Yes, very good sharing that you have done. It's so inspiring for all the students that there is no shortcut. You have to read it again and again. Every time you read, you have more clarity. Every time you read, more clarity.
That's very true.
Yes. So this is what we should do. We are just taking 2 hours a week class, but rest of all you have to follow it on your own. And the more time you spend with Jinvani, the more clarity you will have, the more contemplations you will have, the decision making will also come because it's all logical explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you go through this, you will understand it very nicely. Okay.
Yes.
So
A few more questions I have, sir. Personally, I would like to
you
call
can connect me after the class anytime. Always welcome anytime you call. You don't message even. If I am not sleeping or if I'm not taking any classes, my phone is always on. You can call anytime. And if it is just ringing, then I will call you back. That's all.
Okay.
So
Yes. You have always done that, sir, and a lot has been cleared in my part from you by asking you questions.
Yes, you should always ask. Okay, I'm there.
Yes.
No problem.
Thank you, sir.
So this purposeful elements is very important to understand. Now, few questions coming up about this purposeful elements. Basically, you have described, next page. Basically, okay. Basically, you have described Jiva and Ajiva, the 2 substances in which rest all substances are covered. So what are these rest all substances?
So the other elements.
Fundamentals. Yes, other fundamentals: influx, bondage, stoppage, dissociation, liberation. Besides them, what other substances are left out which are described as unpurposeful? Answer: all substances are of course covered in Jeev Ajeev, but there are many specialities of those Jeev Ajeev substances. Out of those specialities of Jeev Ajeev, the right belief of such specialities which leads to the right belief of the self and non-self give rise to the belief of forsaking rag, attachment. Okay, attachment, etc. So attachment, aversion, everything. Okay, all kinds of passion, and will produce happiness. And by having wrong belief of which the right belief of self and non-self is not evolved, the belief of forsaking attachments, etc. is not generated and will result in misery. So, along with Jiva Jeev, you need to know the other 5 fundamentals also. Okay. Although the other 5 fundamentals are part of Jeev and Ajeev only. That's why we have 2 types every time. One part from the soul and one part from the karma, that is non-soul. Okay, so one is psychic influx, one is material influx. One is psychic bondage, other is material bondage. Okay, so the psychic part will already, so the psychic part of all the 5 other fundamentals is coming from the soul element, and the material part is coming from the non-soul elements. Okay, so knowledge of Jeev and Ajeev only is not sufficient. You have to know the other 5 fundamentals also, and that makes 7 as the purposeful elements. Knowing only 2 elements will not solve your purpose of manifesting right belief. So you have to know the 5 other fundamentals also. Knowledge of Jeev and Ajeev substance with such specialities is to be known as purposeful. So these specialities, the other 5, has to be known. Moreover, the Jeev Ajeev substances with those specialities are to be known unpurposeful by having or not having the right belief, of which the belief of self and non-self may or may not get generated, and the belief of uprooting attachments, etc., may or may not get evolved. There is no surety. So even only knowing Jiva Jeev and without knowing the specialities, the right belief will not evolve. But knowing Jiva Jeev along with those specialities are considered to be the purposeful elements. Okay, so this 7 you should know. You should know at any cost. Otherwise, the right belief will not evolve, and when right belief will not evolve, you will not be able to uproot the attachments, etc., and you may not have any clear cut understanding of the 7 fundamentals. For instance, having belief of Jeev and body, okay, with Chaitanya, consciousness, and Murtattva. So consciousness is the characteristics of Jeev, and Murtattva, corporality, okay, is the characteristics of the body. Body is a matter substance, so they have taken 2 substance only. One soul substance, other matter substance. Okay, so Chaitanya, consciousness, is the quality of the soul substance, and corporality is the quality or the characteristics of the body, respectively. Okay, respectively. So they have considered Jeev and body as 2 substance. Okay, so consciousness is the characteristics of Jeev, and corporality is the characteristics of body. Respectively is purposeful and having belief of human, etc., human, hell, celestial beings, and the non-subhuman states, okay, etc., embodied and jar, cloth, etc., forms of matter. Okay, so this humans and all are matter substance, and jar, cloth, etc., are also form of matter substance. A specific form of Jeev and matter is unpurposeful. Similarly, other examples are to be known. Okay, so these 7 fundamentals are the purposeful elements, and knowing these 7 purposeful elements, you will be able to manifest right belief, because you will be able to practice the discriminative knowledge in the right sense. Okay, thus the wrong belief of the aforesaid purposeful 7 fundamental elements should be known as wrong belief of the aforesaid purposeful elements is known as mithya darshan, perverse faith. And if you have the right belief of the 7 fundamentals, then it is right belief. Okay, now the tendency of wrong belief, that is another very good topic coming up. Now all the 7 fundamentals, the errors regarding the 7 fundamentals will be explained. Okay, so one by one. And what is the chief cause of delusion? What are the 4 pillars of delusion?
क्रोध मान माया लोभ.
No.
Ekatva, mamatva, bhoktutva, and kartutva.
Yes.
Yes.
Oneness, mindness,
Oneness, mindness,
doership,
worship.
enjoyership. So in every paragraph, one will read one paragraph and you have to identify that what mistake is here, whether it is the mistake of oneness or mindness or doership or enjoyership. Okay. Any of in each paragraph, one or two errors are there. So you have to identify that. Okay. The tendency of wrong belief. Now the tendency of wrong belief found in mundane being is described here. The belief is to be described, yet the description is being given with emphasis on cognizance. Cognizance means knowledge. Okay. Emphasis in knowledge because belief follows knowledge. Okay. So first we should know the nature of each elements, and then after knowing the elements properly, the belief will evolve. So first the emphasis is on knowing. Okay. Wrong belief about the first two fundamentals, Jeev and Ajeev, all together. Why it is being taken together? Because whatever errors is of Jeev is already an error of Ajeev also, because both are connected. So if you have error in one, it will lead to the error in another. Okay. If you believe to be a body, then it is also an error of soul, and it is also an error of non-soul element also. Okay. If you believe yourself to be say any other substances like, you know, medium of motion, medium of rest, then it is not only an error of non-soul elements, it is also an error of soul elements, because you are not identifying yourself as a soul. Okay. So both are connected. So both are being discussed together. Okay. So the first paragraph, whoever reads this first paragraph, he has to identify out of the four errors, four pillars of delusion, which is involved here: oneness, mindness, doership, and enjoyership. Okay, each paragraph. So we have still 10 minutes to go. We will consider how many paragraphs we can do. So we'll begin with Jia.
Should I start from the tendency?
No, the next paragraph. The self jiva.
The self, Jiva, is from the beginningless time. He assumes different modifications owing to the instrumentality of karmic matter. There he relinquishes the former modification and assumes new modification. And that modification is a conglomerated form of bondage of the one self and corporeal body of infinite matter particles. And I am this, such sort of I-ness feeling in that modification is found to the Jeev. And he himself is Jeev. His intrinsic nature is knowledge, perception, etc. And the alien dispositions are anger, etc. And the color, smell, taste, touch, etc. are the nature of matter particles. All these characteristics he believes to be as his own nature.
So what
Uh,
is the flaw?
the I-ness feeling, which is
So oneness. I-ness means oneness. Okay. So he is identifying himself as the whole entity. In that whole entity, there is one body and one soul. And you are the soul and not the body. So here you have to practice discriminative knowledge. Two different substances having two independent identities coming together. Now you consider the whole thing as one. Then it is the problem of oneness. Oneness with the body. Okay. So this is what we have to identify. Okay. The next one, Himali.
These are mine. This type of mindness feeling is found in them, non-self things. And he himself is a jeev, the increasing, decreasing states of knowledge, etc., and the anger, passions, etc., are his modifications, and the change of color, etc., is the modification of matter particles. All these forms he believes to be as his own modifications. This is my state. Such sort of mindless feeling is held by him.
So what is the flaw here?
Mindless, sir.
Kindness. It's very clear here. Now the next
Yeah.
paragraph. Rekha. Unmute your.
Yes.
Yeah.
Further, that existence cause and effect relationship between the jeev and body. Hence, whatever movement or action takes place, he believes it to be his own. Perception, knowledge, sentience is one's own nature and the touch, etc. material senses which are parts of the body, limbs, parts of the body are merely instrumental to his activity. This misbeliever, treating these as one with himself, believes that I touched by hand, etc., taste by tongue, smelled by nose, saw by ears, heard by ears. Further, situated in the heart is material mind made up of specific material particles called Manovargana in the form of eight-petaled lotus. It is not visible to the eyes and is a part of the body. Thus, on its being instrumental, the knowledge function is the form of remembrance, etc. Treating the material mind and the knowledge as one. He believes that I knew by material mind. Further, when the desire of
No,
speaking
no, no.
arises,
You just tell me what is the flaw here in this paragraph?
here also they're talking about oneness only, no, sir?
No, Kartutva.
No,
Right. Doership and enjoyership. Okay. I touch by hand, taste by tongue. So
I did.
this is all about enjoyment. And before that, he believes to be the movement of the body. Is the doer becoming the doer of those things. You know. So this is doership and enjoyership. Now next paragraph, Amitaji.
Himali, where are we, please? Can you tell me?
Further, when the
Further, when the desire of speaking
Thank you.
arises.
Thank you, Himali. Thank you, Rajesh Bhai. Further, when the desire of speaking arises, then he vibrates his pradeshas, spatial units, in a way that speaking materializes. Thereby, owing to the instrumentality of common space occupancy relationship, the organs of the body also vibrate. Owing to their instrumentality, the Bhasha Vargana kind of Pudgalas, matter particles, turn into vocal words form. Treating all these as one, he believes, I speak. So this is Kartrutva.
Yes, doer. Okay, doership.
Thank you.
Next paragraph, Pratibhaji.
Further, the desire of making movement, etc., action, or acquiring, enjoying a thing, etc., arise in the self. Then he vibrates his pradeshas in a way that the desired action takes place. That owing to the common space occupancy relationship, the organs of the body vibrate. Then that action takes place, or without one's desire, the body vibrates, then one's soul pradeshas also vibrate. Treating all this as one, he believes, I make movement, etc. I acquire, enjoy the objects, or I have acquired, enjoyed it, etc. Thus he believes in several ways. Still the enjoyment, doership.
Yes, enjoyment and doership, both are there. Okay. The last one, today's last one. Madhuji, you try. Chalo.
Yes, sir. Further, when the passional dispositions arise in this jiva, then the bodily movements also become according to those passions. For example, eyes become red on the rise of anger passion, etc. The face becomes cheerful on the rise of laughter passion. The penis becomes stiff, erect on the rise of male sex passion. This misbeliever, treating all these as one, believes I do all these acts, and the states of cold, warm, hunger, thirst, disease, etc., are generated in the body. Through their instrumentality, the overpowered, being overpowered by delusion, he himself believes happiness and sorrow, knowing all these as one, he believes the cold, etc., states of body and happiness, sorrow, as if all this has happened in him. ये भी this is doership मतलब
Doership is there, then one more is there. What it is?
it's me who is doing it.
Ekatva.
Ekatva, right? Oneness. Okay. Ekatva is also there and Kartutva is also there. Okay. So I would like to try the other paragraphs as homework. Okay. And I will not read in the next class. So there are further because of union. From there it starts. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is there, and then the sometimes such sort of hallucination means delusion, okay, about the sun, etc. arise. So this is last paragraph is the conclusion. Okay, so this 7 you practice as a homework, and I will ask each of you randomly, anybody you can answer. So you have to answer this paragraph is about what. So we'll not read the paragraph. This is your homework. You have to read and identify which flaw is there, whether it is oneness, mindness, doership, or enjoyership. Okay, and then we will move on to the other fundamentals, that is Asrav, Bandh, Samvar, Nichara, and Moksha. Okay, so next class. And next class we will be meeting at the same time next week, and we'll carry this forward from there. Okay. If you have any other questions while reading the 7 fundamentals, again, you should read it. This is a Das Lakshan Dharma going on, so very good time to connect to the studies of this religious scriptures. Okay, and the 7 fundamentals you again brush up once more. You look at your CC1. All of you should look at your CC1 in semester 1, and maybe in semesters 2 also I must have given some homework on this. So you should look at both these chapters, even Tattva Gyan chapter also. So you have more clarity about the errors of 7 fundamentals, and when you have clarity about the errors, the 7 fundamentals itself becomes clear, and then you are able to apply what is worth knowing, what is worth adapting, what is worth renouncing. Okay, so when you have these decisions in regarding the 7 fundamentals, the discriminative knowledge automatically evolves, because now we have different 7 accounts. You are not putting one account into another account, not making any mistakes. So when you have 7 clarity about the 7 fundamentals, automatically your active consciousness takes shelter of your pure soul, because it is only worth taking shelter, right? All the other are worth either knowing or renouncing or worth manifesting, not taking shelter. Okay, the pure soul is only worth taking shelter. So your active consciousness will automatically pick up that, and you will manifest right belief. Okay, so all the best, everyone. Practice to manifest right belief. And if you have any questions coming up to your mind, you are always welcome to ask me. Without putting any message, you can simply call. Either I will answer or you will have only ring coming up to you. So then I will call back. That's all. Okay. Okay. Enjoy.
Okay.
निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र. बोलो सत्संगी जिनवाणी माता की जय.
Jai.
Right.
Jai Jinendra. Jai Jinendra. So we
Jai
have
Jinendra. Thank you,
every
sir.
day, there is a lecture on each characteristic of religion, It has been going on every day. So you should connect every day to that also. So at least you have an idea of the Das Dharma, a revision of that Das Dharma, although we have covered that in the second sem only, but you can have a revision of that also. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.